6C, 6D are the skills that you need in order to sketch. That's why now we're heading towards sketching. 6F will be about sketching. 6E is, again, learning how to do the transformations. Now, if you remember quadratics, I taught you how to read up, down, left, right, and skewing it. You know how it gets inverted, smiley face, frown face? It's going to be the same thing in this one. That's why it's going to be quick and easy to pick up, yeah? So let's have a look at the skills that you needed so far. You should have had how to read cubic properties, which is what I'm going to teach you today. Again, how to read what does A do, what does B do, what does C do. It's exactly the same as quadratics. How do you move up, down, left, right? It's exactly the same techniques, yeah? And I'll show you, I'll remind you. That was from exercise 4D from last term. What you had to learn was 6C, factor theorem. So this is 6C. Factor theorem, remainder theorem to find out your factor. Then you use 6B to find the division. That's what your holiday homework was because that's the bread and butter of the course. So 6B to find out the division. And then you use quadratic factorization, which is today's work. 6D to use null factor law from what you learned in quadratics to solve. Yeah? So these are the skills that you needed so far, and that's what I wanted you to be able to do so far. 6B, 6C are your bread and butter. Yeah? D was easy, today's session. And now we're going back to this idea. So I'm going to remind you how to read this again. You got y equals to a bracket x plus b. So I want you to write your notes here. Anyone remember? What does a do again? Smile. It was a smile. In our case, our shape for a cubic graph is not a smiley face. This is what the shape looks like. I'm going to draw it and I want you to copy it down, yeah? This is the positive. Whoops. That's your positive shape. When A is positive, so if A is positive, that's what it looks like. If A is negative, I'll do it in green. If A is negative, it'll be the other way around, it'll be flipped. Okay? That's all you need to know at this point. If A is positive, it'll be the blue shape. If A is negative, it'll be the green shape. Okay? We call it a reflection, but at this point, I'm just going to teach you what the shape looks like. Yeah? So unlike your quadratics, it was positive, and then in negative quadratics, it was negative. It was round, yeah? So in this case here, that was your positive smile, and now it's your negative smile. It's like a half a smile. Yeah? Positive, negative. Positive, negative. Yeah? So that was what A does. What was B again? What does B tell me? Seb.
Side to side.
Side to side, left or right. Now what was the technique I taught you?
Non-zero.
Make it equal to 0. Fantastic. I want you to write this down. Let whatever's in the brackets, so in brackets, equal to 0 and solve for x. This will tell you left or right. So if it's positive, it'll move to the right. If it's negative, it moves to the left. Okay? Last one was easy. Everyone got the last one. What was the last one again? What's C tell me? Up, down. Fantastic. How do you know if it's up or when it's down? Good. Plus is up. Down is negative. True? I'm going to do on GeoGebra. I'm going to show you. Once you copy those notes down, I'm going to show you on GeoGebra to see how you move in the shape. It's exactly the same as what you did for quadratics. Turning point for exercise 4D is exactly the same as the inflection point for exercise 6E. Okay, so 4D and 6E, same techniques. That's why I left it to last to do. Most of the skills are here. Number 2, number 3 is what I wanted you to learn. Okay? All right. Here we go. Let's use the skills we've got so far. Let's have a look. Now, is this GeoGebra? This is your normal x cubed, so that's what I showed you. It's positive, yeah? So if you have a look at it, this equation here is your a, that's x plus 0 cubed. Can you see that? There's nothing for a. A is 1. Yeah, so you can see here, a is 1. It's not moving left or right because it's at 0. That's why it's just x. And there's no number on the outside, that's why it's plus 0. So it doesn't go up or down. That's why the center is right at 0, 0. Now we call this point, and I want you to write this one down. This point is called the inflection point. So unlike your turning point, this is called the inflection point. And that's only for cubics. Okay? Now what I'm going to show you is everything I taught you before. I said if I change the numbers in the brackets, it should move left or right. If I change numbers on the outside, it should move up or down. If I change the number of 1, it makes it thinner or wider. Make it negative, it'll go upside down. Okay? Inflection. Okay? Inflection point. And I'll show you how easy it is, because once you've got the idea, you can look at exercise 6E and you'll picture what it looks like. That's what I want. I want you to be able to read the inflection point form. Yeah?
So the inflection point is like the turning point?
Yes, but of a cubic. But of a basic cubic. So this is a basic cubic where it doesn't cut the x-axis 3 times. This only cuts the x-axis once. Yeah? But when it starts crossing 3 times, you don't have an inflection point anymore. Okay? So 6E is to do with inflection point form. Just like 4D was turning point form. Yeah? All right, here we go. Let's have a look at this one. So watch. I said C, if you change C, it goes up or down. So watch, if I change C to, let's say 3, see how that's plus 3? And look at the graph. It's moved up by 3. Inflection point has not moved left or right, it's just moved up to 3. If I change that down, now minus 2, see if I change that to a minus 2, whoops, minus 2, where is that again? There you go. Can you see, it just goes up and down. It goes down to now, minus 2. But it's 0, minus 2. If I want to move that inflection point left and right, so let's say I move that left and right now. So let's say I go to 2. See that? Plus 2. And I told you, if that's plus 2, notice that's moved to the left by 2. So the technique I taught you guys to do was I said, I wanted you to let this equal to 0 and solve for x. That's why it moves to the left. See that? Moves to the left by 2. Minus 2 goes down by 2. That's how you find the inflection point. Okay? So what's in the brackets will tell you left and right. What's on the outside will tell you up or down. And the number at the front will just make it thinner or wider. Does that make sense? Yeah? So if you watch now, if I just change 1, you can see it just makes, oh sorry. See, it makes it thinner, makes it wider. See, look at that. So thinner, wider. The larger the number, gets thinner. The smaller the number, wider. But as soon as you hit a negative, it turns around. Watch. See, that's getting wider. It's getting wider, but once I get to the negative, it just flips around. But the larger the negative, the thinner it is. See, the larger the value, it gets thin. Smaller the value, it gets wider. But the negative just makes it upside down. See, negative just makes it upside down. Positive just makes it upright. So it's up, negative goes down. But the larger that number is, the thinner it is. The smaller the number it is, the wider it is. Okay? So that means once you got that in mind, you can now do the exercise 6E. So I'll show you. See, this is really easy. Once you do that now, you can look at all this and you can tell me, what does the minus 1 do now? Down 1. What's the x plus 2 do? Yeah, left 2, down 1. So if I were to draw this, left 2, down 1, that's my inflection point. Now, the value of A is a positive, so it's that upright shape, the shape that I told you to copy down, and it looks like this. Done. No, because U is a quadratic. This is cubic. Power 3. Yeah, not power 2. Yeah? If you had to do this one, same thing. To the left by 2, down by 5. Okay? And it's the same shape. That's why I'm saying 6E is really easy if you learn the inflection point form, and that's exactly the same as a turning point form. That's why it's easy to pick up. Okay?
Where's the y-intercept?
Y-intercept. Oh, good. How do you find the y-intercept again? What do you do? Let x equal to 0. So if you let x equal to 0 here, so y-intercept for this shape, whoops. Y-intercept, if you want to find the y-intercept, you let x equal to 0. That becomes 2 cubed plus 1, 9. 0, 9. Okay? With the minus? Oh, minus 1. Sorry. Minus 1. So, 7. Okay? That's 6E. So 6E is really just, I'm trying to teach you to read the inflection point form. Okay? So I want you to read the inflection point form. Now, there is one that it's tricky. Can anyone tell me what this one should be? Because a lot of students will make this mistake. And explain to me why. What does that tell me there? Akita.
Since the x is on the other side, yeah, it should be minus 6 plus 3, and we go down on the
Good. And so what does that tell me? What does the shape or what does the graph look like? Good. That's the one thing that I want you to pick up. Yes, you're right. So it still moves to the right. If you solve for this, this will still move to the right by 3. But the one thing you have to be careful about, which was it you, Felix, that said? Yeah. It will be a negative graph. So it'll be going down. The reason why is if you do the cube of negative x, that becomes negative x cubed. Okay, so that x does matter, and that changes the shape. Going down. So if I were to sketch E, E should actually look like this. It moves to the right by 3, because if you let negative x plus 3 equal to 0, solve it, x equals to 3. So you move to the right by 3, but the inflection point is a negative graph, because if you expand it, negative x cubed is a negative x cubed, not a positive x cubed. So that's the only one that most students will get wrong, because you're used to looking at the number on the outside. So they're all positive. Positive, so that's a negative there. So that should be going down. That's a positive. That's going up. Okay? So that's the only thing you're going to pay attention to. Which one's up? When x cubed is positive. Just one. See, it's going up. So the further you go to that side, the further it goes up. The further you go to this side, it goes down. Yeah? So the more you go in that direction, if it goes up, it's positive. If you go in that direction, it goes down, it's negative. Why do you ignore? This one? Yeah, it goes down by 1. Inflection point. Yeah. That's good. That's 6E. I'm going to conclude there. So you can practice either 6D or you can jump to 6E if you want. But that's what I want you to take out of 6E. Learn to read the inflection point form. Okay? That's the goal. But the main skills, remember the main skills are, you have to be able to tick this off. 2 and 3. Learn to do 2 and 3. 6B, 6C is your bread and butter. You don't get 6B, 6C, there's no point moving on. Just like last term, if you don't get 6A to 6F, there's no point. Everything I taught from 6F onwards, it was hard to teach if you couldn't do A to F. Same thing with this one. If you can't do B and C, I can't teach you everything else. Yeah, so practice 6B, 6C. Will, 6B, 6C. Yeah? Just got to focus on that. Thank you.